Welcome back to Wargaming World.
So let's work out the consequences for the Germans, which are considerable. We've got 9 casualties, so we know that the junior leader takes a wound. If we work it from there, we would say that 8 of the 9 German infantry are also casualties, which means that we lose a team. We've also got the fact that we've got 5 shock. Now I know that the Germans have also lost by 4, so they effectively rout 18 inches, and they do so in disorder, and basically it's going to be a section breaks for this as they disappear. So there's lots of tests.
To a new game of Chain of Command. So, back in France 1940, and we have our French forces who are going to be looking to hold our key objective, which is the bridge here at the end of the road. Our German forces are going to be coming on from this end, attacking across the farm area over towards the garage, and look now to attack onto this bridge. Now I've put across some pictures through the Wargaming World Facebook group, as well as Twitter and things like that, and a lot of nice comments. So just a few shout outs is that the buildings themselves, a lot of them are empires at war. The trees and the river is from Last Valley, and the battle mat itself, new one, which is from Geek Villains. And finally, and certainly not least, is the beautiful roads come from Early War Miniatures. So really nice set, and yeah, makes it for a good table. And thanks very much for all of the really nice comments. Let's jump straight away into the game and the objectives. So German forces are looking to take this bridge. So the French forces are holding it with their platoon, and they will have to wait until the start of turn 3 before they can get their reinforcements and any support units. Of the two forces, the support numbers are going to be the same, so although the Germans are going to be attacking, they'll have the same as the French, but the French with, of course, the disadvantage that they can't get anybody on the table until turn 3. Now I've already covered the patrol, and therefore have the jump off points. So the 2 German jump off points here very close, one here at the edge of this sort of farm area, and allotment I should say really. We've got one there on the corner, we've got another one close to it again on that corner by that stone wall, and just there on the far side we've got another one just behind that hedge. For the French we have 4, one of which is just here in this shattered area. You can see we've got a second one in the building here. The third jump off point is in the garage itself. It's actually in this back room, and it's that large one there you can see on the left hand side. And the last one, of course, is our objective itself, so that will be a 4th jump off point for the French. Look at the force morale of both sides. Blue will be French, 4s and 3s gives us 9 each. Right, let's have a look at the support points. Germans are first wave, so we're talking about +4, French +1 as regulars, so the French will get 3 more than the Germans on whatever we get on this 2d6 roll. However, the French don't turn up until the 3rd turn, so let's have a look and see how much we get. So we've got 8 points. The French, as I say, will get 11. We've got 8 for the Germans here, and what we do know is that that's also going to include a pre-game barrage. So essentially what's going to be the other 6 points going to be used for the Germans. Okay, so our German attack is going to consist of a first wave force, so therefore that gives us 3 squads, which is an MG 34 with 6 rifles, with an NCO with a submachine gun. The HQ unit is 2 senior leaders and also a 5 centimetre mortar team. In addition, we've got 8 points. I mentioned we're going to use 2 points for a pre-game barrage, and so that they can make a quick and swift attack. We're going to use a 4th squad, which is 4 points, and for the remaining 2 points, we're going to have an adjutant, so it means we can get the senior leaders on the board as quickly as possible, and a medic. French forces defending this line will be a standard platoon, which means we have 3 sections. 3 sections will consist of a light machine gun with 2 crew with 4 additional rifles as a support. We then have 4 further rifles and an NCO. In terms of its HQ, we have 1 senior leader and 1 inferior senior leader. And we also have a VB team of 3 VB team grenade launchers, and also they will have a junior leader with them. Like I say, with the support, we will have 11 points, and they will appear from underneath that bridge, but they can only do so from the 3rd turn. So we're going to wait and see what that is in terms of what turns up once we get to turn 3. So just thought I'd have a think about the German plans. You'll see on the screen now is that this is the way the attack's going to take place. We've got 2 squads either side on the left and right flank. The target obviously is the bridge, but we need to get into such a position that the squads might engage any areas for French defence. Now, the pre-game barrage means that there's going to be an interruption in terms of the French deployment. However, what seems obvious would be that the garage would be an ideal place for defence, and indeed the 2 buildings behind them. So if we have the Germans moving down the left flank, I should say, and sort of leapfrogging across each other in order to one moving the other with the cover, and on the right hand side we have 2 squads moving up to the target, and the mortar at the back here in the sort of orchard area offering some element of support. Now, from the French perspective, I'm going to play this the same way you would just playing the game normally, and what I mean by that is that we're going to wait and see how the Germans attack, and I'll make a choice about where I deploy the French. We have our 4 jump-off points, and of course we're defending the bridge. Now, the pre-game barrage means that even if I wanted to bring some units on, they may not arrive, and indeed my support for the French doesn't appear until the 3rd turn. So as you watch on, you've got an idea about how the Germans are going to attack, but how the French appear we'll have to wait and see. And so I've got the 2 chain of command markers there. We've got some German motorcyclists, and we've got a casual French civilian of the local area. So let's have the first turn and first phase with the Germans to go first. Okay, that's a good start. 2 3s, 2 2s and a 4. Well, I'm not altogether too sure we could have had a better start at all for the Germans. So with the 3, I have this unit appear by the jump off point, and they're now on Overwatch. With the 2, we have this unit just behind, moving across. Then further across the table, we have the 3 here unit come out on here. It's moving tactical, so the note next to it. Same as the 2, which is out further on from there, and we'll just see the number 4, the senior leader, has appeared and on table. So right from the start, the Germans are out as they would wish to be. First French phase. 2 points for the chain of command dice, and a 1 2 3. Now, thinking about some French options. I know we've got to roll because we've got the pre-game barrage taking place, but I was looking at this window and seeing whether we could fire down on the Germans there. However, the tree is in the way, so it's obscuring it, so I've got to look at some alternatives. So just looking further along at this building, and I think there's definitely some windows there that could fire at the Germans in the open. Just slightly further along here, looking at the garage, we could be at the two windows at the front, possibly shoot on the Germans approaching there. But I think I'm going to start off with this room and see whether with the two I can bring on a unit in there and see if we can fire. Thinking about it, this could be a 2 and a 1, because I can't do anything with a 1 for the unit. So anyway, let's see whether we can bring on this unit to go in the room. Let's start off 1, 2, 3. We can't get on, but they can. Okay, I'm just going to show that we've got how the composition of the French is that we have the 2 men for the light machine gun and 4 rifles. So they're in the first floor room. I'll just see here. Now the windows means we can fire the machine gun out of one of them and 1 rifle out of the other, because they're relatively small windows. However, downstairs in the brasserie we've got 4 windows, so the other part of the team, the other 4 riflemen, can fire below. We've got the NCO down at the bottom as well. I'm going to put the first floor on the top, but that just shows where the figures are and where the firing is coming from. So we're going to start with the 4 rifles downstairs, needing 5s, and that is 2 hits. So 2 hits on this unit. We've got 2 teams, machine gun team and the rifle team. So the green dice is going to be the machine gun team, and it's going to be in hard cover, so it's 5 for shock, 6 to kill. And that's 1 kill amongst the rifle team. Now the machine gun team and 1 rifle, so we have 7 dice. So it's 5s to hit, so we've got 2 hits. And again, the green dice will be the machine gun team. And so we have 1 point of shock on the rifle team. Now we did have a kill on the rifle team, but we just need to test whether it was actually the leader. No, it wasn't. Now this unit is on Overwatch, but in terms of the arc of fire, it's actually really covering the garage here, so it's not within an arc of fire for this building, so it isn't going to return fire. Now I'm going to see if I can bring on another unit, this time try and put them on the bridge. 1, 2, 3, we're not going to get there. No, we aren't. So that's the end of the French phase. German phase. And another good roll. 3 2s and a 3 and a 5 to start off the chain of command dice. Okay, so what we're going to do here is with a 2, the unit at the back of the sheds there is just going to move on. With a 3, the leader is going to order for the unit to move, and what effectively will be to fire at half effect. Now they're not actually going to move away from that position, but they're just going to change their angle, so that rather than being trained on the garage, which is where we were with their Overwatch, they're going to move instead, so they're no longer on Overwatch but are going to be able to fire at the unit in that building. It's going to be half effect though, so we're also going to take off a point of shock there. Now over on the other side, with the 2 2s, are going to make it up into a senior leader, and the senior leader is going to order both of those units to move at the double. They're going to do so moving up towards the road and to the side of the hedge. Remember that from the strategy that we've got. He'll also take 1 point of shock off one of the units. I'm going to roll 2d6. For the majority of the unit here, they can just move this side of the stone wall. The others, the machine gun team, will just use the highest of the 2 dice because it's going to try and get over the wall. What we got in total? So we've got 6 inches. So one team is going to go 4 inches, the other 6 inches. So this unit finishes here. With this unit here, we can move 1 d6. That's a 6. Right, so we've moved across that line, and they're now facing towards the French at the brasserie. Now we have what would normally be 8 dice for the machine gun, and we've got 5 with our rifles. I'm going to say that we're going to get a total instead of, rather than 13, I'm just going to give it 6, I think. Now, I'm not sure whether this is correct or not, but rather than saying they're going to fire at a particular window, I'm going to say that altogether they fire at both the first floor and the ground floor. So therefore, I'm going to say we're going to share the casualties across the two teams. 5s to hit, and that's 2 hits. So hardcover, 5s for shock, 6 to kill. Blue dice is going to be the machine gun team, and nothing on that team, but there is a kill on the rifle team on the first floor, and indeed the junior leader is with them. So let's have a look and see if it's him. 1 for the junior leader. No, it isn't. Got 2 squads. Both are going to move at the double. So let's start off with the one nearest to us. And that's good. It's 12 inches. One furthest away. We've got 14 inches. Right, some very good rolls there already. And we can see that the Germans are dashing up the road towards the objective as in terms of the bridge. So let's see whether the French are able to get on the table. If this pre-game barrage continues and keeps the French away, this game could be a very quick one. French phase. So lots of options. 2, 2 3s and a 4. Can we get some the French on the board? Well, unless we have a total disaster, we're going to use the 2 to fire from this building. But let's have a look at the 2 3s and a 4 that I've got. I'd like to see whether we can deploy first of all by the garage. So, can I get a unit on by the garage? Needs 4, 5 and 6s. Yes, we can. Can I get a unit on by the bridge? Yes, we can. And finally, can we get a senior leader? Yes, we can. And so with the 2 3s, we've got a unit here, within 6 inches of the jump-off point, against that bank, and most can fire at the Germans advancing in the open, the one nearest to us here by the hedge, and as can the unit that are on the bridge as well. Senior leader is with them, and the majority, we're going to be looking probably about 10 dice with each, are going to be firing at that unit out there in the open. So, although they've advanced quickly, and that was good, not necessarily ideal with the French being able to get on the table. However, before we do that, I'm going to get the units to fire from this building, and I'm also going to say that you can only fire 3 dice from the ground floor because the officer that's with them doesn't have a rifle. So the 3 at the bottom, needing 5s. Nothing. 7. Needing 5s. Just 1 hit. Germans are in cover, so we'll select that it's going to be the rifle team to take the hit and a kill. Let's just check if it's the leader. No, it isn't. I've just moved the hedge out for a second there, and I'm going to say that we're going to get 10 dice. The 4 rifles at the end there, we're going to say that they can't see because that bank is higher, but the remainder are in a position where they've got themselves onto the bank close enough. So we've got 10 dice. They're going to be firing at close range. 10 dice, needing 4s. 6 hits, so we're going to have 3 on the machine gun team, which will be the green dice, and 3 on the rifles. So they're in the open. 3, 4 is shock, 5, 6 to kill. It certainly looks like a lot of casualties there. So we've got 2 lost from the machine gun team and 1 from the rifles. Actually, it's 2 of each, not 1 from the rifles. So we need to have a look and see, is it a leader? No, it isn't. So things could also get worse, because we've now got 10 dice firing from the bridge. It's 5s rather than 4s. Same target. And that looks like we've got 3 hits. Because the Germans are in the open, I'm going to fire
at the 2 dice are going to go at the machine gun team, which have already lost 2. And there we go, there's that team wiped out, and a point of shock on the other team. Just need to check that it wasn't the leader. No, it wasn't. So, like I say, it's team wiped out. So we need to roll as the first bad thing. See if the consequence of that. It's a 3, need to check. So 3's a -1, so the German morale is down to 8. And it is the German phase. Oh, that was a disastrous phase for the Germans. Let's see what they can do in their phase. We've got a 5, which takes chain of command dice up to 2, and we've got 2 4s, a 2 and a 3. Okay, well I've stood back from the game. If you remember, we've got 2 4s, a 3 and a 2 for the Germans. And I thought I'd just set it out here just to say, as a player, what would you be doing now in terms of the approach for the game? Now I'm going to move the Germans where I think might be useful, but as a player you might have your own thoughts and ideas. It'd be useful if you came back at the end of the game, or on the Wargaming World Facebook group, or the Chain of Command France 1940 group, and put forward what you would have done in this situation. So let's see how the Germans continue. Now my gut reaction is to think that because we realistically don't have a 2 units here, I think I might withdraw them before we take any more damage, and look to go through the left flank instead. Now that we know where all the French are, that will be possible to move in this direction, maybe occupy these buildings here and attack from a different way round. So I think that's what we're going to do. I'll see how we go about it. Okay, with a 2, this unit is going to move at the double across this area. Here we've got a 4. It's going to order the units there to fire, and we're adding 2 dice with machine gewehr. Over on the far side, junior leader is going to take a point of shock off, but then he's going to get the unit to withdraw at the double, and the senior leader is going to do the same at the back there. So they're going to withdraw into the area with a hedge, and we'll see how far that unit at the front can move also. First unit moving at the double can move 12 inches. Okay, that's as far as they've got. Both teams taking 1 point of shock. Now over here we've got a total of 4 rifles and the machine gun team, so therefore that's 12, plus we also have the 2 dice from the senior leader. So we've got 14 dice, firing needing 5s at the French in the press. 14 dice needing 5s. So that's 4 hits, 2 in each team. Green dice is for the machine gun team in hardcover. And 1 point of shock in the rifles. Now the unit that took all the casualties in the last phase, I'm going to withdraw 3 dice. That's good enough, 13 inches. The senior leader is doing the same with the other unit, and this time it's 9 inches. So this unit has withdrawn. However, it's still can be seen by that bridge, so it might well be fired at. The unit further across with the senior leader, that can't be seen. It's got a point of shock. Both units have. It's the end of that German phase. French phase. So we've got 3 1s and a 4. With the 3 1s, I'm going to operate each of the light machine guns. So we're going to fire from the bridge. I'm going to move a team down at the bottom here, and I'm going to fire from this building, which leaves us a 4. So I'm going to see if I can bring on another senior leader. Roll, can we get onto the table? Yes, we can. Got the other senior leader who's now appeared in this building. Now, as an inferior senior leader, he only has 2 orders, but in doing so he can take a point of shock off there, and he can order this unit to fire both the machine gun and one of the rifles. As a result, with the 2 here now, I'm going to start to move and file this unit into the garage. So I'm going to start from this building. I'm going to have the whole section fire. We can have that single order as well as the taking off the point of shock, which means we've got 3 rifles from the bottom. Now, what I'll have to make sure as well is that it's hard cover that they're firing at. I'm not sure if I did that last time or not. Certainly 5's to hit at the same target, and that's 2 hits. 1 at the rifle, 1 at the machine gun, and it's hard cover. Green is machine gun. Nothing. 7 dice from the first floor, and the target, the same target. It should be in soft rather than hard cover because the French are in an elevated position. Still 5's to hit though. And that's just the one which is going to be, I'll select that to be the rifle team as the Germans are in cover. The outcome is a point of shock. Machine gun from the bridge, firing at the unit which took the original casualties, which has withdrawn, hitting 5's. Looks like 2 hits. So the rifle team only, they're in soft cover. 2 points of shock. Now this whole unit is going to file into the garage. It means I'm going to roll 2d6, losing the lowest of the 2 dice, and begin to move them in. So that's 6 inches in total. That's as far as they can get, so we've got about half a dozen of them inside the building. That's the end of another successful French phase. French looking very secure in their position at the moment, so it's over to the Germans. Aha, the first of the double phase. Right, so 1, 2, 3 and a double phase. Okay, I need to start with the 2. I've got a 1, 2, 3, so with a 2 I want to move this squad into this broken area, and maybe we can get a bit of luck and get a different angle to start engaging with the French. So that's going to be 2 dice for the movement. 2d6, but we lose an inch for each team because of existing shock. Oh, that's not great. So 5 in total. 5 and of course last one, so 4 inches. And we've got a 1 and a 3, so I'm going to take the senior leader. It's going to order the units to fire, take off the point of shock, and then move himself. So can try and move, and if you can, join this unit. Measure the movement, 9 inches. Okay, the senior leader gets to this point. He's not going to get over the stone wall in this phase, but I'm not going to penalise him on the next phase when he's getting over. So you can roll another 2d6 moving the other way if he moves, but let's work out the firing here. 12 dice needing 5s. That's a pretty poor roll, just 2 hits. Green dice is the machine gun team. Nothing. Second German phase, I'm reducing the dice by 1, so it's 4 dice, and that is a pretty disastrous roll. So 3 chain of command dice taking it to 5, but now it switches straight away to the French phase. Couldn't really be better. 2 2s, 2 3s and a 4. I've got a 3, see if I can bring in a VB team. No, we can't. I'll use the second 3 to see if I can bring in the VB team. No, I can't. That's great. So with the 2 we're going to fire with these units. The senior leader will order this unit to fire again at the unit that has been taking a lot of casualties. And with the 2 we're going to continue moving in this building. In the building, removing the lowest dice, 5 inches. 10 dice, firing from the bridge, needing 5s. It's now effectively hard cover because they'll be tactical and behind soft cover, but there's still a kill and a point of shock. Is it the leader? No. This unit now has 4 men and 4 in terms of shock, so 1 more and it'll be pinned. Firing again from this building. 3 needing 5s. This is at the first floor. Nothing hits. Machine gun and a rifle needing 5s again. Just 1 hit against the rifle team, soft cover, nothing. Okay, so we're over to the Germans, and we have well, one to take a full chain of command dice, and then we've got 3 forwards.
The first 4, the senior leader is going to hop over the fence and is going to join this unit. It's going to order it to move and take off 1 point of shock.
First of all, let's see how far the senior leader can move, so 5 inches. And the unit that he joins is going to be 8 inches.
Just one very quick clarification. The senior leader has moved 5 inches, but ordered the other unit to move, so he's not actually close enough now to be with them, and in actual fact he's on his own, so he might be susceptible to fire from the garage, but he'll move across to them in the next move. With the other 4, I'm going to take the senior leader on this side, going to take the point of shock off one of the units. He's then going to go at the double across to this unit, and if he gets close enough, take a point of shock off that unit there. With him being the senior leader, doesn't hold shock themselves. So let's roll 3 dice.
And that's a total of 11 inches.
Gets there successfully, and therefore the shock goes down from 4 to 3.
Okay, French phase. See how we go. Right, 1, 2 2s, a 3 and a 4. I'm going to use the 3s to see if I can bring in the VB team. And no, we still can't.
Well, we're going to use the 4 for the senior leader to order the troops that are on the bridge, but I think we're going to take a different target, so we're going to try and fire at the unit that has entered this area. It's in hard cover, but I think it's a better target. With the 1, I'm going to use the machine gun team to fire at the same target, and with the 2, we've got this section. We're going to fire at the ones we've been firing all the time in that sort of farm area over here, and I do have another 2, but nothing to spend it on, so that's all we're going to do. Firing out the garage, we are firing out that window, and we need 4s. 6 dice needing 4s, and that looks like 3 hits. 2 on the rifles, and 1 on the machine gun team, which is the green dice. It's going to be 5 for shock, 6 to kill. And point of shock on the rifles. So we're going to fire from the first floors, a machine gun and a rifle, at the same target that we've been firing all the way through the game so far, needing 5s. Oh dear, there's 4 1s there, so just 1 hit. 1 hit on the rifles is nothing. 3 rifles downstairs, that's better, that's 2 hits. Now when they're firing from the ground floor, it's going to be hard cover because of the angle, so the green dice is the machine gun. Nothing. Now the unit there, we've got 14 with the rifles and the machine gun in total. This is the target down here, and we've got 14 dice needing 5s. Well, I have to say that's terrible. Just 2 hits. And no effect. Well, after all that shooting, we've just ended up with 1 point of shock, so very disappointing firing from the French.
German phase, and we have 5, so it's the start of a new chain of command dice, and then we have a 4, a 1 and a 2.
With the 1, I have brought in the 5cm mortar. I'm going to fire that in a moment. And with the 2, I've brought in the last of the German sections, squads I should say, not sections, and they have, or will start moving in a similar direction down this side. And with the 4, our senior leader is going to move and join this unit, and on the unit itself he's going to order the team to fire at the French in that window, and also will probably take off a point of shock.
I'll just move the senior leader. It doesn't take any shock from moving at the double, so it could go up to 9 inches.
I want to say that the machine gun team only can fire. Everybody else is obscured by the building here and the rubble. So yeah, just the machine gun team firing at the French, needing 4s, 8 dice. And that looks like we've got 4 hits. Now we've got, the way it's structured with the French team, 2 men have the machine gun, and then they have 4 rifles as support that you can see there.
So I'm going to roll the dice. The 2 blue dice are the ones with the machine gun, so we can work out where the casualties come from. And it is 1 point of shock to the rifle team. The mortar fire is going to be starting to fire onto the bridge. We've got plenty of people to direct it in terms of line of sight, including the senior leader down there. So we need 4 5s and 6s, and we have 2 dice. And that is 1 hit. On the bridge, they're effectively in the open, firing with HE. The consequence is nothing. French phase. 3 5s, so that's going to be useful in terms of the chain of command dice, which now goes up to 5, and then we've got 2 1s. Got 2 1s, so I'm going to elect to fire the machine gun out of the window from the garage and also from the bridge, both of them firing onto this unit in here. Garage needing 4s, and that gives us 3 hits. 2 on the rifles and 1 on the machine gun team. Machine gun team being the green dice, and 1 kill in the rifles. Is it the leader? No, it's not. Same target, 6 dice needing 5s this time. And again 3 hits. As we were, green dice, machine gun team, and a point of shock for it. I think it's a fairly even game so far. We've had some casualties with 1 German squad. It's struggling on what is the German right flank to make any kind of inroads there. However, on the left flank, they've managed to advance all the way to these ruins and possibly swing round once they get support from the other squads. In terms of morale, the French remain at 9, the Germans at 8. And the Germans with 1 complete chain of command dice. Germans nearly at 5, sorry, the French rather at 5, almost coming to a point where we could end the first turn. And I've got a German phase, so we've got a wasted 6, and then we've got a 2, 2 3s, and a 4. With a 2, this unit will move behind the allotment area. With a 3, the junior leader is going to order the unit to fire with machine gewehr. We have another 3, so the junior leader over here is going to take off 2 points of shock. And in this area we've got our senior leader, so we're going to take 2 points of shock off and then order the unit to continue to move in the same direction, getting across here, going towards ultimately this bridge. Let's see how far they move. Oh, so 12 inches. The other units on the move. Oh, another double 6. This has been an excellent move for the Germans, 12 inches here. I would point out as well, we do have a jump-off point there, and we could end the turn. However, that might be to the advantage of the French. So, although we would have to take a bad thing for the French losing that jump-off point, the issue that we've got is that we get closer to getting some French reinforcements. So I'm choosing not to do so. As I say, it's an excellent move here for the Germans. It's also a great move over here, 12 inches as well, so that unit is advancing, so we need to fire with this one. Okay, this is the target once again, needing 5s. So we've got 3 hits, so I'm going to say 1 is the holder of the machine gun upstairs, then we've got their team, so that's the green dice, the blue dice is the rifle team with them, and downstairs the 3 rifles on the black dice with hard cover. In absolutely no effect. And it's now a French phase. That's a good one. So we've got a 1, 2 2s, a 3 and a 4. Okay, with the 3, let's see if we can bring on a VB team. It's the 3rd time I've tried this. And yes, we can this time. So we have 4 men from the VB team. They're going to fire at this unit here. It's half effect because it's the first target. 4 5s and 6s, and that's 1 hit. That's against the rifle team, and it's a point of shock. With the 1 and the 2, the junior leader is going to take a point of shock off the team, and then the machine gun and rifles are going to fire out of the windows here. I'm going to allow 2 rifles to fire out of each window, so we're going to have a total of 6 firing out of the windows at the side,
and we're going to have the machine gun team at the front, so we've got a total of 12 dice. And this will be the target out in the open. We've got a difference in distance. The two windows at the back there, it's going to be just effective range, so we need 5s. 4 dice, and nobody hits. And we've got 8 dice needing 4s. And we've got a total there of 4 hits. Green dice is the machine gun team, and everybody's out in the open there, and it makes absolutely no difference at all. Terrible rolls so far for the French. We've got 14 firing at the same target. At the moment it's only taken 1 point a shot. 14 needing 5s. Looks like we've got some good numbers there. So we've got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 hits in total. Now I'm looking at it, and the front 3 are all the machine gun team, which is behind this building. So in actual fact, all 8 hits are going to be on the rifle team. Now, all are in the open, so it's 8 onto the rifles, and we've got 1, 2, 3 killed and 3 points of shock. In fact, it's 3 killed and 4 points of shock. The question is it the leader? Yes, it is. Is it the junior or the senior leader? 1, 2, 3, it's the junior. It's a senior, and what happens to him? 5, he loses a command, he's wounded and loses a command. And rather than having to test against a senior leader wounded, I'm going to take off a chain of command dice, and that means it's down just to 1 on the second dice. Right, the senior leader here is just going to order this unit to go downstairs. I know there aren't stairs actually on this building, on this model, but that's going to be the order. 2d6, and even if it was just 4 inches by removing the lower dice, they're still going to be fine downstairs, I think. Now, the senior leaders order them to go downstairs, so everybody's now on the ground floor, and as he's a senior leader, he has 2 commands. He's the inferior senior leader. He's going to put the units on Overwatch. German phase. And we have 2 to the chain of command dice, and then we have 2 1s and a 3. With a 3, the junior leader is going to order the units to get behind this this building and take off a point of shock. We need a decent roll, so we've got 6 there. We have to get rid of 4 because of the shock. Still a couple of inches, so I think that should be fine. With a 2, I'm going to order this unit to hop over the wall and advance towards into this field. So I need to get rid of the lowest dice, so 4 inches. Okay, that's as far as they've got, and that's the end of the German phase. Over to the French. French phase, see how we go. We've got a 5, which takes it to a full chain of command dice, and then we've got a 1, 2 2s and a 3. Okay, with a 2, the machine gun in the front window, and the first window on the side. Going to have 2 rifles, and they're going to fire here. They can still see this target, so they're going to do so. Up at the top there, on the bridge, and the machine gun and possibly 1 or 2 rifles are going to go back to what was their original target, over here, and they're going to fire on that unit there. So 8 dice needing 4s, and everybody misses. Now we're going to have the VB team fire. It's a new target, and I'm sure I made an error last time when I said it was 4, 5 and 6 to hit. It's not, it's 5 and 6. It's only got 4 dice. I'm not too sure what the output was. I might go back on the video, but either way, it's definitely 4s. Sorry, it's definitely 4 needing 5s to hit on this new target over there by the hedge. 5s to hit, and we've got 1 hit. And so the consequence of that, it is a point of shock. Also have to remember that it's the second of the VB grenades. You've got 4 in total. So alongside of that, we've got the machine gun and 4 rifles firing at the same target, needing 5s. And we have a grand total of 2. Now we only have here, they're for static, so it's tactical, they're behind a hedge, so it's essentially in hard cover. We only have a rifle team there, needing 6s, we don't get anything. German phase, and a German double phase, and a 1, 2 and a 4.
So we've got a 4, a 2 and a 1. So with the 1, with our captured jump off point, I'm going to bring on a medic, and the medic is going to fix up our senior leader at this end and see if we can get one of his commands back. So I'll work on that. We'll need a full phase to do so. Yep, he's on the table. With a 2, this unit is going to move at the double, cross towards the garage. 2d6, and we get 10 inches. That takes the unit to here. I need to add 1 point of shock for both teams of this unit. Our senior leader is going to move at the double. 7 inches in total. And he's now going to order this unit to move at the double. 13 inches. That's a good move, almost onto the French, and now we have the next phase. Four dice for the Germans this time. 2 2s. And chain of command dice taking it up to 4. Right, with the 2 2s, I'm going to use the senior leader and move him at the double. 3d6. And that's a good roll. That gives us 16 inches. Senior leader has 2 commands here. So he's going to order the unit in front to move within 4 inches and get into combat. And we're going to do that first of all to see what the output of that is before we think about this one. The only thing the senior leader can't do is to move, because he's already moved so far, so he can do 2 commands, and the first one we're going to move this unit into combat. Now I need to roll 1d6. 4 inches, no problem. Now I'm going to take a choice, or take a decision that actually I think the French, it's just this single team in the front room. I don't think it's the unit at the back there. There's walls between them, the junior leader is with them. So I'm just going to say it's just this French unit here. Right, so I'm going to try and talk you through the numbers for the Germans. So we have 7 men at the top there. We have a junior leader, so you get 2 for that. We have 6 here, which is the difference. We've got the difference in quality of the troop is 3. You get 2d6 for each of those. We have a submachine gun, 2d6. We have 4 for a light machine gun. I even use the Tabletop Generals dice for that one, so thanks for Jens for his dice. And we remove 1 for the fact that we have 1 point of shock, which gives us 20 in total. Over to the French, we have 6 men, and we also get 1 for the fact that the Germans moved. We get 4 because we have a light machine gun, which gives us 11. And then for every 2 dice, because they're in hard cover, they get an additional dice, which means that the French in total have 16. Okay then, 5s and 6s we're looking for. That's 7 casualties with 3 additional points of shock. So again, 5s and 6s for the Germans. And that's a draw. So 7 each. Just 1 point of shock there with the unit. Well, with 7, that means it's the entire team wiped out. With the Germans, it's automatically going to be a casualty of the junior leader, but what actually happens to him? 5 means that he takes a wound. Now, we also had 2 additional points of shock. They had 1 initially, so 3 in total. But we have 2 men there, including the junior leader. He's taken a wound, so we'll have to roll for a bad thing. But that's where we are. We could consolidate and move into that room, but if we did, we would definitely have to fight the French on the other side. So I might not do that, and instead I'm going to think about what the other order is from the senior leader. So I'm going to roll 2d6. The blue dice is team wiped out, and the black dice is for the junior leader taking a wound. And so both lose 1, which means the Germans are down to 7, French down to 8. The Germans, there's also a team wiped out as well. I'm going to say that's the machine gun team. There's a smaller of the 2, and with a 2, I think that's nothing. The last command is for the senior leader to order this unit to move at the double.
into that garage on through the gap. We do so 15 inches.
Now, although the Germans have got into this building now with a good roll, reality is that the French are here, and there's a solid wall, and it's just a door between the two, and they might be within 4 inches, but I didn't allow the French to engage with that action there. So really, what I'm going to say is that's the end of the phase for the Germans, and give it as the option to the French. I think they're probably more likely to try and withdraw, so they don't lose a junior leader and another team. And yeah, I didn't use them for the first engagement, so I'm not going to use it for this one. So that's the end of the German phase.
So it's a French phase, and we're wasted 6. We've got a 5, so we've got another point for the chain of command dice. Takes it to 1 onto the second dice, and then we've got a 1, 2, 3.
So what I'm going to do here is the junior leader is going to order a man to throw a grenade through the door. It might actually be a smoke grenade, but I'll have a quick look at that. And then afterwards to move out of the door. So we'll roll 2d6 and we'll remove the lowest dice. Over here, the junior leader is going to order the machine gunner to move towards the window, and but I'm not going to allow him to fire. So I know you can sort of move and fire at half effect, but instead I'm going to say altogether we're going to fire with 4 men out of the window and manoeuvre that machine gunner. Okay, so we're going to throw a smoke grenade through the window of the door into this building, and it's anything other than a double one.
If it's a double one, it drops into the same room that they're in. So let's see how we go. No, it's not, and that's fine. The unit then withdraw, and they can go 5 inches.
Okay, and there they go.
Over here we've got 4 rifles firing at the unit, which is down to 1 man with the junior leader, needing 4s. 1 hit. Man is in the open and is killed. Let's just make sure it's not the junior leader. No, it's not. And that is a team wiped out. So let's see the consequence. It's a 2, so nothing. So it's a new German phase. And we've got 2 6s, so it's a double phase, 2 5s, take us up a full chain of command dice, and a 2.
Although I've got a double phase, I haven't got great options. This unit here, I've got 4 points of shock. Can't do anything with the junior leader. Same over here. I could move this unit, but it's difficult to get in here. And in addition to that, we've also got smoke. So I need some better options. They could fire, obviously, but the unit who are in this building are in hard cover, so it's not ideal. Ultimately, the objective is the bridge, and I think I need to look again at that unit over there, who are really doing absolutely nothing. And I need to move them up the bridge the same way, so I need to move them at the double, and that's what I'm going to do with the 2.
So that's 3d6. I haven't gone very far at all, only 8 inches. Well, at least I can say they're getting back into the war, so they've moved 8 inches up here, and now it's the German second phase. 4 dice. Oh, that's a bit better. Waste of a 6 though. 4 and 2 3s. Right, so with a 4, we're going to take off 2 points of shock, and then order the unit to move at half effect. Sorry, well, move and fire, so effectively it's going to be firing at half effect as they go round the corner here, and then fire. We go a couple of inches, I think, into that building, into the windows there. With the 3, the junior leader, it's not the one, by the way, with that 1 against it. There's another junior leader with this unit. Is going to order. It's going to separate the unit, so he's going to order the machine gun team to fire covering fire at that building. So that's going to cover for that for the oncoming phase. And with the other team, the rifle team, is going to order them to move into this building. And on the far side there, we're going to take off a point of shock and move. So that's 2d6, not moving at the double, so it's just going to move 2d6 and take off 1 point of shock. Okay, so we're going to move this unit, and we have to move it. It's 1d6 movement and fire. And we're going to do that, and I think just as long as we don't get a 1, the machine gun team is going to be able to fire, which will be 4d6. 2 inches. It's 2 inches, it's round the corner. The machine gun team didn't have any shock against it, so
it's going to be able to fire at that individual window. So it's 4s to hit, only 4 dice because it's moved, and if it gets anywhere, it is in hard cover. 4s required. Just 1 hit, hard cover. Not really worth it, nothing happens. So I've got covering fire here, and then I'm going to roll 2d6 to work out exactly how I'm going to do this. I know there's some figures which are inside the building. They're going to have to go through a window into the next room, so I'm going to essentially say it's the higher of the 2 numbers. These on the outside, however, I don't think they're walking through the same area, so I'm just going to have to make a sensible decision on who can move where. So let's just roll some dice. 3 and a 1, that's not great, so not everybody's going to get inside anyway, so let's have a look about what the finished article looks like. That's a bit of a dog's breakfast, I know. So essentially what we've got is that some of the Germans have now got through the window and are in that room. The majority, however, are still on the one where the smoke is, and also there are still a number outside, so both teams can still be hit if the French fire. We've got covering fire, as I say, with the machine gun team there, and that's the fairly ugly image of where we've got to. And on the far side, we've got 2d6 movement, 9 inches. And with that, they've gone back up the road, below the brow, so can't be seen by the French here on the bridge, but they're getting much closer to the action. So that's the end of the German phase, over to the French. Okay, we've got a French phase, and I still think the French are in a fairly strong position. They've got chain of command dice, they've got 8 in terms of morale, holding the bridge, and the Germans have been fairly whittled down in terms of numbers. We've got a unit here, one there and one coming up onto towards the bridge, but we're getting closer to the fact that we can get to the third turn. Take the chain of command dice there. So let's see what happens in this roll. What have we got? So we've got 2 5s to take us up to 3 on the chain of command dice, 2 1s and a 4. Well, we're going to fire with a machine gun and 3 rifles at the machine gun team out there. I know that there's the other team with it, so we'll have to spread the consequences, and they were firing covering fire, so it's going to be a 5 to hit. So we're going to do that initially, and then I'm going to use so we'll use that with the 2. With the 4, the senior leader is going to order this unit, and the senior leader is going to order this unit to fire across at that unit. I know they're going to be essentially in hard cover, but they're still a target, and indeed we're going to do the same with the VB team. It'll be the 3rd time they fire, and it'll be a new target for them. So 9 nice needing 5s at the garage, target at the garage, and we've got 3 in total. So 2 will be the machine gun team and 1 the rifles, but they're out in the open, and so we've just got 1 point of shock. Let's do the VB team needing 5s, and that's 2 hits, so reduces cover by 1, 4 5 shock, 6 to kill, point of shock. So machine gun and rifles from the bridge needing 5s. Looks like we've got 1 2 3 4. The rifle team are in hard cover, but that's 1 kill. Is it the junior leader with them? No, it's not. The rifle team is down to 2 men. It's got 2 points of shock, and we've got a junior leader with it. Now I could end the turn because if we roll a 3 on the Germans, for example, here, then we'd only go to turn 2. However, the French are still on 8 for the morale, so there's no urgency to do that. The French will also have to do a bad thing roll test because of losing this jump off point here. But at the moment we've got an inconvenience for the Germans with the smoke, so I'm going to leave it as it is and turn to the German phase. Okay, what have we got here? So we've got a 4, a 1, or 2 4s, a 1 or 2, and 1 for the chain of command dice. Okay, so what am I trying to do here? I'm going to try and take the shock, 2 points of shock off this unit with the senior leader, and then the machine gun team is going to fire into that building. Why am I trying to do that is that I want to whittle down the numbers in that building so we can assault it. Once we do that and clear that out, it's going to mean one way or the other there's going to be very low numbers of this unit left in terms ultimately of the assault of the bridge. On this side I'm going to take the senior leader. It's going to now we had 2 teams effectively, so I think it's going to cost me a point in command to get that unit back together as a single unit, but then to move it also take a point of shock off the machine gun team. What do I want to do with them is to move them to the edge of that garage when we can, get rid of the smoke as well, and be ready to fire from the end of that at the unit at the bridge, in order then that 3rd unit can assault it. That's the sort of plan for the Germans. In terms of the 1 and the 2 that I've got, I'm going to remove that unit up at the top there and get it out of a line of fire, because ultimately I want to make sure that we don't have to lose points for morale based on losing a jump off point, sorry, on losing a junior leader and a team. Right, that's the plan. So let's start down here, firing into this building.
8 dice needing 4s. It looks like there's some numbers there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 hits. Green dice is the machine gun team in there with hard cover, and all we've got is 1 point of shock on the machine gun team. Now at the garage I've removed a point of shock. I'm going to roll 2d6. Some of the unit it's difficult for movement. I'm just going to roll and see and hope we don't get a really low number and see what I can work out. 2 and 3, not ideal. Right, most of the Germans are in this building. It's a bit of a mess really to try and work that out, but one way or the other, I think that was a low number, and I think realistically that there's still an opportunity for the French to fire at this unit just by the door. So they'll be firing at the rifles, but if we'd got a higher number, the Germans would have been able to move in, but we didn't. So that's going to be the situation for the French. Last thing I need to do here is I need to use the 1 and the 2, and I think actually I'll just use the 2 to move the unit, and then with the 1 I'll use the mortar and fire that at the French on the bridge. So let's fire the mortar, needing 4, 5 and 6, 1 hit. The target was the machine gun team, so we'll stick to that. So consequence, a point of shock. How far do the Germans move out the way? 8 inches. In fact, they can only go 6 inches because of 2 points of shock, but even so they are still out of sight now at this corner. And a French phase, and a good one. So up to 4 on the chain of command dice. Oh, instead up to 5, got 2 5s, and then a 1, 3, 4.
Well, it's the French turn, and we've got I've got a bit of a quandary. What I'd like to do is to have the machine gun team in this building, and indeed on the bridge, on Overwatch, but I need to end the turn, so if I put them on Overwatch, it means that'll be cancelled out straight away. So I just need to have a think about what I'm going to do.
Right, well I'm not going to go on Overwatch. Instead the senior leader is going to order the section to fire, so we've got a total of 9 dice firing out towards the rifle team that are still going into the garage there, so we're going to fire there. So that's the use of the 4, and for the use of the 3 I think we're just going to need to take off a point of shock. There's not a great deal we can do more there. And with a 1 I'm going to move that team and get them to approach and start moving up in that direction if they can. I'll start with that team in fact, and so that's 8 inches. Very small margins, but I'm going to say it's long range rather than close range. So it's effective range, needing 5s, 9 dice for the French. And I've got some numbers there, so we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 hits. They're all out in the open. It means we've got 2 killed and 2 points of shock. Is it the leader? Yes it is. And what happens to him? He's knocked unconscious. Right, that is the senior leader knocked out, and It's just occurred to me, I think if we end the turn now, can he not just get up because it's the turn end? So that might not be particularly effective, other than the fact that it will be a bad thing. So roll a bad thing. 2 senior leader injured. I think that might be a -1. Yep, it's a -1. So the Germans are down to 6, and I am going to end the turn. So we need to do some bad things for the French, losing 2 jump-off points, but we're over to turn 2. So I've lost the smoke, and 2 bad things, so a 4 and a 5. I think that might be a -1 and a -2. We'll have to double check. That is a disaster. That is -4 in total for losing 2 jump-off points, and the French have now dropped down from, in a flash, from 8 to 4. So senior leader's back up because it's the end of the turn. So we're off to turn 2, and it's a German phase. So can the Germans take advantage of that situation? They've got another 5, so it's to the chain of command dice, up to 2. And then we've got 2 1s, a 2 and a 4. Game has suddenly really swung there. So now I've got a 4 and, well, potentially 2 4s with the 2 1s and a 2. But the senior leader here, we're going to need to make an attack, I think, see if we can take this building. So we're going to have an order to move, and then you can add 2 commands into the attack itself on this French building. Here I'm going to get the senior leader take off some shock and move with the units in the building. What I ultimately want is to get that machine gun, which is in the wrong room. I need to get it across and over to one of the windows, and so it can start adding some fire over to the bridge, soften it up perhaps before an attack from this unit over here. So for movement in the building, in the garage that is, it's 5 inches in total. Right, I'm going to say that the machine gunner can get to the door, but it's not open. It needs to be done for the next phase. The senior leader is in there, so yeah, we've done some movement in there. It's a little bit chaotic to move about, as well as the fact that there's quite a lot of casualties in there, if we remember. But that's where we are at the moment. So we're going to move 2d6 here. We're going to move towards that building, see if we can get close enough so we can attack. We can attack with hand grenade and with the senior leader for 2 commands, and see the effect that makes on this attack. But let's just see how far they can actually move. 5 inches. Okay, so I've moved the figures so they are both within 4 inches of each other, because they would have been close enough. Now you might say, if you're so inclined, well hang on, why didn't I take all figures when the hand-to-hand combat took place over there? And the view that I took is that actually they were in separate rooms and essentially as separate units in terms of teams. In here, however, it's just a single room. So I have to work out again how we do that and work out the dice, but this could be a very significant moment. Now, before we do anything, we need to work out hand grenade for the attack. So first we do is roll 1d6 and subtract 2 because the French are behind hard cover. Nothing, so it's no effect. So with the failure of hand grenade, let's have a look at the French defending this building. So we've got 9 men, okay, up at the top there, and then we've got 2 for the leadership of the junior leader, 2 for the leadership of the inferior senior leader. The 2 red dice is to indicate the 2d6 that the Germans used for movement. The 4 is for the light machine gun, so that takes us to 19. We then get 2d6 for every, sorry, we get a d6 for every 2 of the French, which gives us an extra 9 dice because they're defending hard cover for the first phase, which gives them in total 28 dice. So taking it from the top for the Germans, we have 6 men, we have a senior leader, which is 3 dice, we have a junior leader, which is 2, we have a light machine gun, which is 4 dice, and we have 2 submachine guns, which is 4 in total. They are also a better quality of troop by 3, which gives them an additional 6 dice. So, in total of that, we have a total of 25 dice. So, with such a huge numbers against each other, you might think, well, why attack? But
Remembering, of course, that the French are on 4 for their morale, although it's going to take a big hit on the Germans, we might just be able to make a major dint into the French. So, 28 dice, needing 5s or 6s for the French. That is 12 in total, which means I think that's a wipeout. 25 dice, needing 5s and 6s. And so, the total casualties there is 9, so that means it's a French victory. Now, we already have 12 casualties in terms of the Germans, so they are really knocked out. But what is the consequence in terms of our leaders for the French? Remembering that certainly one's been hit, maybe 2, and which one? So let's work out what happens. Let's have a look at the consequences to the Germans first. Now then, I have been to the Facebook groups and asked the question, what do we do here? We've got 12 casualties, 6 men are killed. That leaves us with 6 dice and 2 officers, a senior leader and a junior leader. So how do we work this out? And the answer, which is from some frequently asked questions, the answer is that we take 3 dice for each of the officers, roll all 3, and take the worst of those 3 consequences, and then that will determine then what we do in terms of a bad thing. So, junior leader first. What's the worst thing that happens to him? Okay, well, the worst, he seems to be knocked out, and also a light wound. So we'll say that being knocked out is the worst consequence. Then we have the senior leader. And again, in terms of the senior leader, he is also knocked out, and we have the light wound also. Well, I'm not going to test the senior leader. I'm going to use the chain of command dice and avoid it. And so, junior leader 5, that's a -1, and lost a section 3, I think that's a -1 also. And that takes the Germans to 4 on force morale. With the French, however, we have 9 casualties, so working on the same calculation. On the 6th, we know it's going to be one of the officers. We have to roll with which one. And then we've got 3 other casualties. So do we know whether 1 is an officer? 1 to 3, an officer has also been wounded. No, it hasn't. Is it the junior or the senior leader? 1, 2, 3, the junior. No, it's the senior. What's happened to the senior? He loses a wound. Now we know that only 1 wound is across the men, so therefore as a consequence we have 8 casualties to be removed. Now that means we lose one of the teams, we're left with 1 man, but there are actually 3 men in there because we've got 2 officers, and that means as a consequence, although it's taken 3 points of shock, it doesn't break, so we need to roll for a team lost. Team lost is a 2, I don't think that's anything. We also need to roll for the morale of, the consequence of 1 bad thing, for the senior leader being wounded, and a 6 I think might be a -2. And as a consequence of that, drop from 4 to 2 on force morale. And so, although it was clear why we did that attack, as the French go down to 2 on force morale, the French really had a great role in terms of fighting the Germans, and this is where we finish. The French are fortunate; they got 3 points of shock, but 3 people in the building, and because we have 2 of the German officers knocked out, the consequence of the actual action is that the French won by 3, so they would normally rout. However, they can't do that because naturally they're knocked out. And I think it's reasonable to say that the French will take those 2 officers prisoner. The medic there will be trying to patch them up. But the end of that phase is that, although I'm not going to roll a bad thing as a consequence of that, they are taken prisoner in that building. Roll for the French. Can we roll a 5? Yes, we can. And although we've got a 1, so we might use our team to move, but almost certainly end the turn. with a 1. I'll use that. I'll move that team just below the bridge, and I'll move them up towards the top 6 inches. And so we are at the end of turn 2 and the start of turn 3, and the Germans are in a very tricky situation because we now only really have 2 squads, the one advancing up the top there and the one in the garage. And over on the side in terms of force morale, the French at 2, Germans at 4. But if we turn to the French into the next phase of turn 3, they have an opportunity to bring in their support, although they only have 3 dice. So the question is, with the German attack now, how are they going to reduce the French down to 0 on the force morale on this roll? Germans are down to 4 dice with a morale of 4, and they only have 1 senior leader now, so let's see what they get. And 2 5s certainly isn't what they're looking for. It goes to 4 on their on their chain of command dice, but a 1 and a 2 is all they have.
And I think realistically, the only thing we can do here is to make a charge. So I think what we can do is go at the double with this unit. So the junior leader, who has 2 commands, will take off a point of shock, which we've got over there, and he'll make a charge to see if they can get to the bridge, which means we roll 3d6. We will get a point of shock per team. However, let's see if they get anywhere near. 3d6 in a desperate charge. Possibly 13 inches. And just to show this isn't a total stitch-up, we've got 13, and they've just made it. So there is going to ultimately be a fight for the bridge.
So I'm just putting together the dice for the what I think will be the final action. And just to mention, in terms of the game itself, I know in terms of the main rules, we can look at the attack on an objective, and in the 1940 rules there is Blitzkrieg, which is similar to the format. So the way I've done this game is sort of a mix of both. Because we've got a first wave force, I've tried to, I haven't added an additional 6 points, and used a couple of dice for the support for them. I thought keeping the French away until the 3rd turn really was hard enough, but yeah, you can follow it in the main rule book or in the 1940 book and play it whichever way you like, and see whether you think this has been useful in terms of setting. Right, on with the final event. Well, this final action really couldn't be any closer. So let's just have a look at the numbers of the forces. We've got 10 dice for the French infantry, 2 dice for the junior leader, 3 dice for the senior leader. We've got 3 dice in addition, because that's the amount of dice the Germans used to move, and 4 dice for the light machine gun, which is 22 dice in total. For the Germans, we have 9 men. We also have 6 dice, because we get that for the superiority of the quality of the troops. 2 dice, because we have a junior leader. 2 dice for a submachine gun. And 4 dice for a light machine gun. However, we have 2 points of shock. Therefore, we need to remove 1 dice, which is 22 dice in total. 22 dice each, needing 5s and 6s to cause casualties. 6 and additional points of shock. So 22 dice for the French. And that's 9 in total, with an additional 5 points of shock. Now 22 dice for the Germans. And that is only 5. So very much a victory for the defending French. However, that doesn't necessarily mean it's victory in the game. What are the consequences in terms of the impact of a bad thing? Let's take a look out of these 5 if one of the casualties is a leader. So, is it the leader, 1 to 5? Yes, it is. 1, 2, 3 a junior leader, 4, 5, 6 a senior. Junior leader. What happens to the junior leader?
He's knocked out. And if he's knocked out, let's roll for the bad thing. 5. So a 5 is a -1. So the French go down to 1 in their force morale. And then with the remaining 4, we take the two casualties from each team and 1 point of shock. So let's work out the consequences for the Germans, which are considerable. We've got 9 casualties, so we know that the junior leader takes a wound. If we work it from there, we would say that 8 of the 9 German infantry are also casualties, which means that we lose a team. We've also got the fact that we've got 5 shock. Now I know that the Germans have also lost by 4, so they effectively rout 18 inches, and they do so in disorder, and basically it's going to be a section breaks for this as they disappear. So there's lots of tests. First of all, I think we'll work out that we've got 6 and then an additional 3 dice. So let's see whether the junior leader has been wounded twice, and if so, we'll roll 2d6 and see which is the worst of the 2, which is what we did similar beforehand. 1 and 3. No, it's not. So he's wounded once, and the others are killed. Now let's see the consequence. Junior leader has taken a wound, and yeah, it's taken a wound with a 5. So bad thing, junior leader wounded. 4 I think is -1, and then we have a team wiped out, and also a section breaks. So team wiped out with a 4 is a -1, so that's -2 to morale. And then the section breaks. It's not quite wiped out because there were 9 men and it was 8 casualties. Section breaks with a 5, I think, might be a -2. And it is. So, and that is game, because we lose 4 morale points there. Combination of junior leader wounded, a team wiped out, and also the section breaks. And that is it. So the French win with 1 morale remaining, and we had every possible permutation in that final engagement. So some fortunate rolls in the end for the French, and somewhat unfortunate for the Germans, and it ends in French victory. And so I thought I'll just bring some theoretical support onto the table. The French celebrate as it was due to appear, with a Charby and a Somu appearing as the French celebrate their good fortune in this game and in this battle. But I'm sure there are more to take place in France 1940. So, just want to say thanks very much for watching. It's been a really good game, and really enjoyed it. So, if you have any thoughts, please feel free to put a comment on the channel. And indeed, if you're new to this channel, then please feel free to subscribe. And if you also want to have a longer conversation or look at other areas, a lot of detail, you can join one of the Facebook groups. So you could join Wargaming World, or you could join Chain of Command France 1940. But comes to the end of this game. I have to plan about a new one, and thanks once again, and we'll see you soon.